I have a new fucking monitor. Tell me, I have a question. I don't know if monitors themselves influence the quality of the picture, because I just assumed it did say screen recording, but for some reason I just assumed that it was recording it itself, like the game itself, not with my monitor doesn't have any influence on that. It's just recording it to the best of its ability. However, I got a new monitor because my old one, I saw that it was like fucking up a little bit. I don't know, it was like not really glitching often, but like once or twice I saw like a couple lines and I was getting worried. Also, it's really old. I bought that monitor when I first bought my PC, which is also maybe starting to show its age, even though I heard it's actually a good PC. Listen, I have 500 gigabytes of storage, which is unacceptable. I don't know how to add more storage onto it, so I just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a new PC. I got a new monitor. I got an OLED monitor, specifically a WOLED monitor. Same resolution as my old monitor, 1440p, 2K, I believe it's called, to 160. However, it has more hertz. I think it's 240 hertz. I think my old one was like 160 or something. I forgot exactly what it was, but this one is like double that. Either way, please let me know. Do you think this looks better? Because to me, it looks way better. When I was done recording with my old monitor and I would look back at the recording, I've mentioned this so many fucking times, it would be darker than my screen was when I was looking at it. I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it was way darker. And yeah, I would always, I don't know how I'm a little scared to look at my older videos now, at least the videos before this one. What I used to do is I would turn up the exposure and the contrast. Except for these last few videos, I just said, fuck it, I'm not even gonna bother. But who knows, let's see how this looks. Please let me know, does this look better? Does my monitor affect it at all? Also, it's been a long fucking time. I do remember the last episode. Canon, Shannon, George, and Jessica. And Beatrice. Kuwadorian Beatrice, I'll call her. Kuwa Beatrice. Kuwa Beato. That's what I'll call her. Kuwa Beato. I'll call her that because she acts like her. But yes, I remember that's the last thing. It's been a week since I last played, which is unacceptable. Is it really 15? No, it's the 8th. 1-5. Oh no. Wait a minute. 5 is the month. I thought this was the month. Is this actually the time at 12:13 p.m. a.m. that I last played? Erica had returned to the room that had been given to her on the second floor of the guest house. I do remember it was very uncomfortable because Erica was she loves to fight. That's it. She loves to impose her will on others. Again, intellectual rapist. The next room over was empty. It was very quiet there. Man, oh my god, I'm sorry for gushing, but this shit looks so good. It looks so high quality. Even pressing her ear against the wall wouldn't enable her to listen in on the voices in the cousin's room. Wait a minute. Wait. What? Hold on. Wow, that looks great. Let me read that again. Let me read that over. Hold on. Second floor of the guest house again. The next room over was empty. It was very quiet there. Even pressing her ear against the wall wouldn't enable her to listen in on the voices in the cousin's room. Hold on. So, they said there's a room was empty. Is the room, okay, it's her room, then an empty room, and then the cousin's room? Or is the cousin's room empty because she wouldn't be able to hear anything? She wouldn't be able to hear anything because it's empty. Because if it's the fact that the next room over, there's a room separating both of their rooms, then how the fuck could she was just bullshitting when she said what she said in episode 5. Even with hearing boost... Wait, what? Even with hearing power boosted by the detective's authority? That's a thing? It would probably be impossible to make out anything. This room was the farthest down the hall, a long ways away from the cousin's room. So they are separated by a room, or at least a lot of distance. Then how the fuck did she hear? Could she have claimed that she heard or didn't hear something back in episode 5? Oh, never mind. I erase everything that I just said. Wow, damn. Battler is really fucking pressuring her to not figure anything out.
ゲームマスター権限で許された範囲の初期配置の変更です。妥当な初手かと。
Yes, I'm still not shaking the fact that Battler is now on the side of the witches, even though he still doesn't believe in them, right? In magic, he's still fighting for magic.
まあ、その方が私もいいです。あのクソガキどものトランプで遊ぶ黄色い声なんて聞きたくもありませんから。
Huh, okay. Also, you guys really want me to think about this golden truth shit. This whole time, Erica had been sitting at the desk working at something. She was preparing some of those duct tape seals from before. Oh, wow. She had asked Kumasawa for the stickiest tape available. She drew a complicated, unforgeable signature on it with a permanent marker, then added slits through it. How do we know it's completely unforgeable? How can we prove that? If it ain't in red, then I'm not believing it. By sticking this over a place that she wanted to prove had remained closed, she could create a powerful seal equal in strength to the red truth. Yes, those menacing seals had concerned Natsuki so thoroughly in the previous games, and I hate that we fucking, man, because Natsuki is my favorite girl. I love her so fucking much, and the fact that we had to go through that last episode, man, it's just, it was painful. It was painful. So fucking, again, Ginzo, he's dead in every single game. Wow, we actually get an image of her holding tape.
これいかがしましたか？やられました。パトラめ、周到ですね。
He worked thoroughly on this, didn't he? Erica shrugged and showed the piece of duct tape she had cut off to Delanor. By sight alone, Delanor couldn't tell what had annoyed Erica. However, as soon as she held the tape, she realized the difference right away. Holy fuck.
これではダメです。ええ、粘着力ほとんどないです。これじゃあ赤き真実には至れない。
Wow, so the stickiness of the tape, the adhesive, even duct tape can be of low quality, and it sometimes gets weaker with age. The tape Kumasawa had found was a bit too weak even for normal use. It wasn't nearly sticky enough to be used as a detective seal.
きれいに剥がすことが可能です。これでは封印を示す証拠にはなり得ません。バトラもそこまで見下げ果てたほど無能じゃないってことですね。
Well, he did work thoroughly in this fucking game.
ゲームマスター権限でこの島のすべてのガムテープに干渉したんでしょう。
Letting Erica get her hands on duct tape gave her a fatal weapon to use against witches. The previous game had proven this fact. So, Battler had removed that weapon from the entire mansion.
おそらくガムテープに代わる品もすべて干渉を受けているに違いないです。ですね。ま、良かったことにしておきます。おかげでこの冷たい雨の中、みっともない姿で外壁を這い回らなくて済みますから。
Erica tossed the duct tape aside and flopped spread-eagled onto the bed. Wow, man, what a position.
事件が起こるのをパイプ吹かして悠然と待つのも探偵のたしなみですし。
Really? There's other things you can do, like solving the epitaph?
あんたもどうせ第一の番が発覚するまで出番ないんですから。どこかに姿消して一服でもしてたらどうですか？
Wait, what'll happen if she does solve the epitaph, since Battler's the game master
私の顔な
now?
んか見てても疲れるだけでしょうし。タバコは吸わないです。
Also, I will not get tired of looking at your face.
子供ですので。
I don't smoke
そうですか。
because it's disgusting and it hurts my
私は
head.
吸いたいです。出演者たちが歌うほどの 気分を爽快にさせる効果があるならの話です。
Hell no! That, when you smoke, at least tobacco, your body feels heavier. Like you just feel like you're getting pushed into the ground.
ご機嫌が
At least that's what I feel.
優れられないようです。そう見えます？
Erica answered lazily, looking up at the ceiling. That in itself was half an answer. The silence between the two was filled by the sound of the wind and rain. Yes, I'm hearing it very clearly. It was so quiet that it was hard not to listen to the ticking of the clock.
エリカ卿、お尋ねしてもよろしいですか？
Okay.
内容によります。多分ノーですが。
Can we go out for pizza?
一応暇つぶしに聞いてあげます。何です？
Is it gonna be the epitaph? Erica was probably bored as well. Or maybe the sound of the rain was making her sentimental. She assented, which was very unlike her.
なぜエリカ卿は魔法を嫌われるのです？
Oh, I never got that impression. I got the impression that she just obviously just likes to fight other people intellectually.
ああ、さっきの下のマリアとのやりとりの件ですか？あんなの子供騙しのくだらない手品です。誰だってわかっています。ああまでして幻想を打ち砕く必要があったのですか？私にはわからないです。
It had been a childish fight. Erica didn't need Delanor to tell her that.
自称知的蹂躙者としましては、
There it is, self-proclaimed.
魔法なんてもので真実をうやむやにすることが許せないわけです。それを暴くことに優越を感じられているということですか？私には他の感情が感じられます。他の感情？何です？優越というよりは、もっと何か別の負の感情を感じます。はっ、やっぱりあんたはただの殺人人形です。その目も節穴みたいですね。失礼しました。許してほしいです。
Aww. You don't gotta make her feel bad. Look at her. Erica rolled over grumpily, turning her back to Delanor. Because of this, Delanor couldn't see her expression. Even so, for some reason, she could guess that this completely unobserved expression was one of pain. Interpreting this to mean that Erica wanted her to go away, Delanor gave a bow and made to leave. Then, Erica suddenly spoke. The words came so far out of the blue that Delanor doubted her ears, and she had to ask Erica to say it again.
今、何とおっしゃいましたか？あなたのことが好きです。
It really was out of the blue. I'm not believing that. Delanor wanted to ascertain what Erica really meant. Maybe like in some aspect, because I don't think it's... But the latter still had her back turned, and her face was out of sight. Maybe she's talking to someone else in her mind? It can't be, can it?
別の子と付き合っていましたが、今は完全に切れています。
Okay.
周りの人たちは僕たちを妬んでありもしないことを言いますが、気にしないでください。
Let me read this again. I was going out with another girl before, but I've completely broken up with her. Others are gonna be jealous of us and say things that aren't true, but don't pay them any attention.
俺は君に生涯のすべてを捧げるから、君も俺にすべてを捧げてほしい。二人で一緒に幸せになろう。
Delanor avoided asking what she was talking about and stood there in silence. Yes, I'm a little confused myself. For a while, Erica kept on speaking in that dull and emotionless tone. repeating soppy phrases that might have popped up in some shoujo manga. Then, unexpectedly, she once again followed up with a completely non sequitur. A new wallet. Of course, she had no idea what Erica was saying. However, with her back still to Delanor, Erica kept on saying disconnected words. Wait a minute. It's just hitting me. She's repeating what she heard or saw the other say? That I love you shit. Isn't that what George... No, don't go there. Isn't that what George said? Hold on. I'm gonna devote my whole life to you, so I want you to do the same for me. Let's find happiness together. I was going out with another girl before? Okay, maybe not. Maybe... Because I was thinking, wait, what if this is George? A new wallet? A strange cat keychain? Maybe she's picking up on things. Who the fuck is this back here? I don't know. Wait a minute. Wait. Everything reminds me of that fucking sin. I'm sorry. But I gotta, you know what, fuck it. I'm taking a picture of this shit. Hold on. Oh, wait. Oh. Hold on my fucking phone. Give me a second. Hold on. I don't know if you heard that. Hold on. You know what? Let me turn this on. Hold on. You hear that? He made too much curry. He started going to theater practice more often. He started folding paper towels differently. What in the world does this have to do with... And did she lose her mind? Thanks, I've already eaten. He knew more than before about cosmetics. Sorry, I was sleeping. The toilet seat was left down. He spent the night over at his stage friend's place. Me and my acting friends had a party there. Someone just left it behind. Left what the keychain or the keychain with the frog or whatever? Or the wallet? The drain and sink were cleaned out. There were receipts and point cards from places he didn't usually go. The muddy soles are evidence that you went out on Monday when it was raining. It matches the strange symbol on the calendar. None of your theater friends have hair this long. Leading questions. How do you know the plot of a movie you haven't seen yet? Evidence, circumstantial evidence, observation, surveillance, tracking, tailing, information gathering, wiretapping, asking around, questioning. I found plenty of evidence that I loved you. I found plenty of evidence that you loved me. But I can't find any evidence that you haven't been cheating on me. Give it a rest. If you love me, then trust me. If you can't do that, then you don't love me anymore. How could I love someone like that? I'll treasure you for all my life, but I want to do well in theater just as much. You said you like seeing me act, right? So why are you telling me to stop acting now? Why do I have to choose between you and acting? What's wrong with you? I'm seriously tired of this, alright? What is going on? Look, if all we do is fight when we see each other, maybe we both need some time to cool off, okay? I need to concentrate for my next performance anyway. One of my colleagues, she told us she won't be able to perform. I need to rewrite the script by tomorrow. I don't have the time for this. You know what? If you really find it that hard to trust me, we're through. Don't bother coming over again. Just go home, and I don't love you anymore. Stop crying. God, you're obnoxious. Go kill yourself, you creep. Stop shouting, damn it, I got neighbors. Just get the hell away from me and never come back. Kill yourself? Is this 2016? Oh, that fucking phrase is everywhere. It cannot be seen with love?
愛なんかあるからありもしないものが見えてしまう。
What? It's nothing more than an illusion. One that no one except you can see. And one that even you can never touch. Without love, humans would never need to see that fiction. Because we can see it, we doubt, we suffer, we cry out loud. Was that her backstory?
私は今幸せです。
Hold on, let me think. Is getting a little abstract with...
仮とはいえ真実の魔女になれて。
She hates magic because does she see magic as without love it can't be seen? Oh my god, hold on.
今の私はもう赤くない言葉に苦しめられなくて済むのだから。あんたなら私のエンドゲームどう返しますか？私ですか？あの凡庸な男じゃゲームの相手は務まりませんでしたから、あんたならどう返してくれるかと思いまして。
Lionel was suddenly thrust into the position of Erica's opponent in the witch's game that she had once challenged that man with. Delanor shared in the fragments of Erica's past, allowing her to grasp with the full situation. The board was reproduced in full inside their heads. The situation was one-sided. Erica's side had constructed a blue truth based on countless bits of circumstantial evidence, had turned all of those into pieces, and was already cornering the opponents. For some time, Delanor thought in silence, and announced her by-the-book response.
初手、私が浮気している証拠の提出を要求します。青き真実で反論。構築に状況証拠、物的証拠84点提出。青き真実で反論。今も愛し続けている状況証拠、物的証拠6点提出です。グッド。青と青では相殺ですが、構築する駒の数が圧倒的ですね。
When both opponents meet with the blue truth, the decision is almost always based on which side has more pieces of evidence, regardless of the actual circumstances. This is especially true in the human world. Wow, okay. So, by the standard rules, Erica would win.
一点先取。次なる手は攻守逆転を狙います。逆にエリカ系が浮気をしていない証拠の提出を求めます。パーペチュアルチェック。お互いの同じ質問を無限連鎖する千日手となりますから禁じ手です。では証拠なくも現在もエリカ教を愛していることを率直に表明します。
So this is her backstory and why she hates magic. She sees magic as like, oh,
赤き真実でないから無効です。仮に赤かったとしてもそれステイルメイトです。私に反論する手がなくなりますから。
Delanor remained silent for a while. She responded quietly to Erica's moves, as Erica drew closer and closer to checkmate. At this point, just leave. If you're questioning it that much, a stalemate is a forbidden move in the game for witches, since it means the ruin of the game. However, in chess, it also represents a draw. Because of this, it is a splendid final move that the weaker player can pull off if they are already unable to win outright. In this situation, Erika clearly had the advantage. It was natural that Delanor, her opponent, would seek a stalemate to obtain a draw. However, that only worked in chess. In the game where witches fought over the truth, it was a forbidden move. So it was already checkmate from the very beginning. Delanor had no way to turn the game around, but that meant that regardless of what the real truth had been, this game would.
他に手は真実を守る魔女狩り大使館。いえ、デザインです。ね、ほら。
Erika had succeeded in crushing her opponent with the truth she espoused that her former boyfriend no longer loved her and was cheating on her. Her opponent had no way to argue back. After all, humans are not allowed to use. A splendid game. A splendid finish from a superior position. Regardless of the truth of her opponent, Erika would win. A splendid victory. Delanor could only respond with silence. And with that, Erika spoke no more. She was probably done talking and wanted Delanor to leave. Delanor understood this, but even so, she wanted to tell Erika just one thing before leaving.
見事なゲームです、エリカ卿。探偵は勝利して当然ですから。あなたはベルンカステル卿の駒になる以前から実に見事な青き真実の使い手です。しかし、エリカ卿、人間に許されるのは青き真実だけです。そして青き真実に反論できるのは赤き真実だけです。そして赤き真実は人間には許されていません。ならばどうやってあなたのお相手は彼の真実を示せばよかったのですか？さあ、赤き真実に時に勝るとかいう例の黄金の真実とやらでも持ち出したら。
Gold truth is only stronger than red at times? Is gold truth like a personal truth? Or something that you acknowledge in your heart as the truth?
ゲームは確かにエリカ卿の勝ちです。
So he could use the golden truth if he, in some way, he could use it. So anyone can use it then.
しかし真実の守護者として申し上げます。何です？
Oh, I swear she says her boyfriend did love her.
どうせ不愉快なことでしょうから、それを言ったらとっとと消えてください。
That would be unpleasant.
はい、確かにこのゲームはエリカ卿の勝ちです。しかし私が示したあなたを今も愛している青き真実の証拠6点は
She could just easily dismiss that.
あなたさえ人間。
Ah, 6 points.
それを否定
6
する
needles in your
赤き真実
fucking.
使えばしないのです。探偵権限で84点の証拠を赤き真実に後に昇格させました。我が主のお力によって私は人間にして人間を超えた存在、探偵にして魔女、真実の魔女フルドエリカです。他に質問は？捨て台詞は？ありません。それでは失礼いたします。
Delanor bowed and disappeared. After that, all that remained was a single witch of truth laughing off a bitter past, with an equally bitter smile. Damn, man, everybody's talking about love now, man. Jessica, George, even her. Erika glanced at the bedside clock and saw that it was almost exactly midnight.
さて、一寝入りさせてもらえますか。いよいよ2日目、10月5日の幕開けです。今頃どこかで今回の殺人が起こっているんでしょうかね。
The only one who doesn't have a love interest is well, not love interest, but talked about love or had whatever is battling. I was thinking about this when I first started playing, or like episode 2 or 3. What if there's like a game where everyone dies, and also another game where nobody dies? What if nobody dies this fucking game? This shit is so fucking pitch black to me. I have a glossy Never mind. Holy shit, we got to see this? Ava and George could be seen beneath the eaves of the guest house. George had revealed his engagement with Shannon. He finally had the opportunity to say it. Ava's anger had exploded almost instantly. This had been no more than George had expected, so he had responded with an ice-cold calm. Good. Oh, shit. No, nothing like that. Wow, really? You think that? Okay. He wants to make it very special. So is he a virgin? He has to be, right? He said that. Wants his first time to be with Shannon. That would be romantic. Sure. They always, you know what? When someone is trying to argue with you about something, they always bring up like media. Oh, it's not like it is in a fucking video game or whatever dumbass shit. That's right. Damn, my boy. Wow, man. They all inherited that. That ambition. I love that ambition, man. That's Wow. Look at him. Look at the way he's smooth with it. Really? Who the fuck else? Who is this other girl? Ayumi? Listen, the heart wants what the heart wants. They don't even know each other. Have they ever fucking been on even one date? They don't know shit about it. They don't even know each other's favorite color. Something simple like that. Right, there's nothing special.
数度無理やり引き合わされたけど
Oh, never mind, they have gone together.
目さえ合わせちゃう。
あゆみさんは育ちのいい奥ゆかしい女性でしょ。男性のジョージに目を合わせるなんて恥ずかしいしぶしつけでできなかっただけよ。あなたが目を見て話してくれなきゃ気持ちが感じられないと言うなら彼女にそう注意するわ。
Oh no, don't do that to her.
きっとこれから
Don't do that to her.
あなたの目を見て話してくれるはずよ。
あゆみさんと結婚させたいのはそれが母さんにとって利するからさ。
Think of her feelings too, man. How would she feel hearing
母
that?
さんの縁談には僕の気持ちがわずかほども含まれていない。
I don't know entirely about that.
ジョージ、どうしてそんなことを言うの。母さんがあなたのことを考えないことなんてあった？
Yes, I wouldn't say that.
ないでしょ。親という漢字はどういう字？木の上に立って見ると書いて親なのよ。
Miru? Tree key? Stand? That too, I think?
母さんたちはね、あなたよりはるかに高みから人生の遠くまでを展望してるの。そしてあなたが若さゆえの一時の感情で間違った道へ進もうとしているのが見えているの。
Ugh.
だからこうして憎まれることを承知で言ってるのよ。あんたがどうでもいい子だったらこんな喧嘩しないわ。どこの変な女とでも勝手に結婚しなさいって放っておいてるわよ。ねえジョージ、母さんに全て任せなさい。もうあなたはシャノンちゃんに会わなくていいわ。
Wow. It might be. I kind of understand where she's coming from, right? She really wants the best for him, and in her eyes, this isn't the best. Also, it's very easy for her to say, "Oh, go with this Ayumi girl," because isn't that the entire family was? They had their partners chosen for them, and then somewhere along the lines of them having their partner chosen for them, they fell in love with him. And they're watching this just like how back in the day, marriages, they were like a beneficial thing, not just not really an emotional thing, right? Between love, but what will benefit both their families the most. And them being old school as fuck, they're still viewing it that way.
母さんたちで話をつけてあげる。大丈夫よ。シャノンちゃんにも悪いようにはしない。だってジョージに成長のきっかけをくれた人だものね。ちゃんとそれに
She really wants to argue this.
だからあとはもう母さんたちに任せなさい。ジョージ。
Sometime during Ava's rage, tears had started to drip from her eyes. As though those tears had caused him to hesitate, George turned his back and sagged his shoulders. George was, after all, only a child of man. Though he understood that marriage required nothing more than the consent of both people, he couldn't get over his desire for his parents' acceptance. And so, he was torn between the tears of the mother who had always helped him and the fiancé he had chosen. Or was he? What the fuck? The music stopped at this perfect time.
そろそろ今日まで立派に育ててもらって本当に感謝してる。僕もこう思って親になったら母さんみたいな親になるよ。子供のために本当に戦える世界で一番尊敬できる親にね。
ジョージ。
With his back still towards her, George threw away his umbrella and slowly stepped out from beneath the eaves into the rain. Then, he slowly turned around. It was, without a doubt, the familiar face of Ava's beloved son. However, he stood there now as his own man, self-controlled and independent, enough that the blood connection between them might even be forgotten.
そろそろいいと思う。
何が？
お別れしていいんじゃない母さん。
Wow.
ここからは親子の関係はなしで話そうじゃないか。僕はジョージ、君はエヴァ。親だからどうこうというのを抜きにして互いの立場で本音をぶつけようじゃないか。
Dang, he's really taking a stand right here.
僕を望み通りの相手と結婚させたい理由は経済的事情、世間体、それから未だいさかいのなくならないおじさんたちへの家。それ以外に何もない。
Oh wow. I don't, you know what, for some reason I don't really feel like that's the all of it. That's the only reasons.
それをすっきり認めてくれた方が潔い。僕はこれから僕の立場だけで語る。君もそうした方がいいんじゃないか。負けるよ、君。
George's eyes no longer contained any trace of his love and respect for his mother. There was only a frigid glare as he glared ruthlessly down at the witch who was trying to bind his future.
ジョージ、どうして母さんをそんな目で見るの？
今僕は母さんを見ていないからさ。僕の目に映っているのは僕の選び取ろうとする未来の前に立ちふさがる試練の壁だけさ。母さんだって人間だ。夢や野心があってそれを今も追い続けてるのは知ってる。そしてそれを素晴らしいと思う。自分の夢を決して諦めないことの大変さを僕たちは知っているのだから。
Maybe this is the trials they were talking about. Those two witches, I forgot their name. This is the trial. Getting it with their own hands. I need to inherit your wonderful strength. I've learned a lot from my parents, my friends, and Sayo, and I've grown.
その最後に学び獲得して完成されるのが本当の後宮ジョージという男なんだ。僕は今あなたという最後の壁を越える。
Man, that must break her heart. Ava had disappeared. The pouring rain landed evenly across the ground everywhere. No, it was blocked very slightly in one place. However, there was no one there. Standing on the ground isn't the only way to block the path of the rain. Then, could it be? What the fuck? What? No fucking way, she's back? Holy shit, she's fucking, oh, the Black Witch. Ava Beatrice. In the rain-filled sky, with a moon that shouldn't have been visible behind her, was the Golden Witch of the future, who had finally obtained everything of the Ushiromiya family. Even the drastic change in his mother's appearance didn't faze George. On the contrary, he seemed to be moved by her boldness. Because his mother had honestly and truly displayed her true nature. Now, I can confidently show her my true self.
これが僕の君の束縛から踏み出る最初の第一歩だ。
第一歩。
With that first step, he felt something odd beneath his feet. He knew that this sticky sensation, which didn't quite feel like mud, represented his mother's arrogance trying to prevent him from making that first step. Journey to the West. Wait, I think I know that one.
懐かしい。多分僕が一番最初に愛したファンタジー。
Sun Wukong, yes, the Monkey King, wanted to become a god and was tested by the Buddha. The Buddha told him, if you can jump free from the palm of my hand, I will grant you your wish. Then, Sun Wukong managed to reach what he thought was the end of the world and found 5 pillars standing there, only to discover that they were the Buddha's fingers and that he still hadn't left the Buddha's hand. Wow! That really happened?
決別すると宣言した第一歩。
On the pitch-black earth soaked by the pounding rain, there were what appeared to be ominously glowing bands of faint red, and George had placed his first step directly on top of one. It was deep and viscous, and it held George's foot in place. From Ava's perspective, as she looked down from the sky, it looked like a vast red spiderweb that radiated out with George at the center. Damn, that God, that shit looks so good.
これが僕さ。生まれた時、数々の習い事に縛り付けられ、あんたの野望のためだけに育てられてきた僕の姿さ。
いいえ、それは違うの？なら、わかるようにしてあげる。見せてあげる。そして、悟っちゃえば。
The vast red spiderweb on the ground scooped up George as easily as scooping scum out of a pot. Then it lifted him into the air like a deer caught in a net and swung him about. Look at him! Ava's insane laugh was as innocent as a grade schooler happily swinging about a bag filled with her gym clothes, and cruel in equal measure. Damn. What is she doing to my boy? Fight! You can fight this, George. How is he gonna fight this though? With his conviction, that's it? Can he cut that shit? Could it be severed? On Tuesday. What the fuck? She got her webs over there too? Stepped on the cat. Is that a real song?
幼稚園の頃はバイオリン教室だったわ。できるからやってそうでしょ。あんた才能なさそうだったからね。途中でピアノに変えたけど。
What? I would expect you to take more talent to play piano.
じゃあ水曜日は覚えてる？
They got my boy doing everything: piano, violin, martial arts.
進学塾に来た。遠くて通うのが苦痛だった。
じゃあ木曜日は？
Oh, what is she doing now? God damn, she's really what?
補習塾だな。科目は苦手だったのにね。あなた応用はできるのに暗記は苦手な典型的なやればできる子だったわ。
痛烈だね。子供が三者面談で言われて 一番イラつく言葉だ。
I heard those words a lot.
馬を水場に連れて行くことはできる。水を飲ますことはできない。
イギリスの格言だね。
あなたのやる気を出して維持させるのが一番苦労したわ。
Holy shit. Listen, they're not gonna eat him. What? Or maybe they are gonna hurt him. George was bound hand and foot by the bright red spiderweb, reducted to the witch's plaything. She would innocently swing him around, and then smash him about with an insane laugh. All with an insane laugh. Again and again.
もちろんさ。ユニークな塾だね。親と一緒の塾だね。いろいろな意味で窮屈だね。
子に釣り竿を買うな。一緒に釣りに行け。
母さんはイギリスの教育論も好きだね。
I never heard of that one. We're just going through his whole fucking week.
辛い塾だったわね。でもあれが一番あんたには効果的だった。高いお熱心。毎週金曜の夜も費やさなければならないね。でも一番効果があった。子供はね、親がみたいなんて伸びないの。子が目なら親は太陽だわ。太陽なくし芽吹く草も咲かせる花も存在しないの。
Oh god. Well, she's making a good argument. She put so much into raising him a certain way. Still bound hand and foot, George was thrown, slammed, and smashed. He could do nothing. He was still like Sun Wukong, unable to leave the palm of his mother's hand. However, since he wouldn't surrender, he could still show resistance anytime, at any time.
じゃあ土曜日は土曜日は
家庭教師が来てくれてるね。
向こうから来てくれるから楽だったでしょ。
聖域である自室に毎週他人を迎え入れるのが苦痛だったよ。先
I
生
bet it was.
の後に残る汗の匂いが今でも思い出せるくらい嫌だったね。
Ugh.
あなたに学習姿勢を叩き込んでくれる素晴らしい先生だったわよ。弁護士の相談費用並みのお月謝を払った甲斐が本当にあったわ。
Really?
そして迎える日曜日と塾の予定がない月曜日だけが僕の安息日だった。これは皮肉だね。火曜日から土曜日までの塾が僕を押さえつけてきたのか。まさに僕は孫悟空だったわけだ。
そうね。私の手のひらから逃れたいなんて思い上がりはお釈迦様にご行山で潰してもらうといいわ。
Sun Wukong, who wanted to become a god, was crushed by the 5 mountains of fire, water, wood, metal, and earth, and sealed away. These are the 5 elements that the days of the week, Tuesday through Saturday, are named after in Japanese. Really? Tuesday? Getsu Gayobi? Gayobi? Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot. Oh, I'm supposed to remember them. Mokuyobi is Thursday. Saturday is it Doyobi? Only now did George, who had always admired Sun Wukong, recognize his greatest of ironies.
思い上がったあなたは孫悟空と同じに少し反省とお仕置きが必要だわ。あなたが改心したら私が解放してあげる。
それは解放じゃないね。洗脳だ。
何も考えなくていいの。 ママに全て任せちゃえば。
No, hell no.
私があなたの全てを決めてあげる。
Fuck no. Give him no agency of his own
あ
life.
なたにとって一番素晴らしい人生なのよ。
That sounds like hell.
世界で一番知的であなたのために全てを捧げてくれる女性を用意してあげる。全ての成功もそれに至る道も全てママが用意してあげるわ。そしてやがては後ろ宮家で最高の名誉である当主の後継者にあなたは指名されるの。それから初めてあなたは自分の人生を始めなさい。
Even then?
第一歩。笑わせないでよ。あんたはね、まだ生まれてさいないのよ。これはあんたを捕らえる私の巣じゃないの。あんたを慈しんで育む私の子宮の中なのよ。
Oh. That possessiveness, I hate it so much. It's disgusting. Let him decide his own life. George was slammed against the ground over and over. It was heartlessly cruel. It was heartless cruelty, unlike anything one would expect a blood-related son to receive. However, in Ava's eyes, perhaps even this was a sign of love for her precious son. The human-shaped lump of flesh ensnared in the red net was slammed over and over, then thrown high into the air, where it was caught by a massive spiderweb suspended in the sky. So he's just a lump of meat now? George hung there pitifully as though crucified, still covered in fresh blood and not even twitching. Even if there had been some power to resist remaining in him, the red web holding him there would have held even that in check. The rain, which had been falling non-stop since the beginning, quietly tormented and pitied him.
無行罪に封じられてしばらく頭を冷やしなさい。シャノンちゃんが悪い子だからやめなさいと言ってるわけじゃないのよ。彼女はジョージに青春と成長のきっかけを与えてくれたとっても良い子だわ。でも後先を考えない婚約は別の問題よ。相手が彼女だからいけないと言ってるわけじゃないの。それを分かりなさい。
友を責めるな。行為を責めよ。だね。これもイギリスの格言だ。
本当にあなたは賢い子に育ったわ。いいえ、育っているわ。私のお腹の中でね。もう少しじっくりと育ちなさい。
Ugh.
お仕置きは終わりよ。
Don't make me throw up. The spiderweb released George reluctantly. Then it threw him to the ground beneath the clouded sky.
ありがとう、母さん。
Okay. It was all George could do to get up on his hands and knees. Though he wiped the mud away and stood his ground, he still couldn't raise his head.
これまでの全てが僕を思ってのことだったんだね。ありがとう。本当にありがとう。
そうよ。今は憎いでしょ。でもいつかきっと感謝するわ。
One day.
私がどれほ
They
どあなたを
always
愛
say
し
that.
ていたかをきっと理解する。
火曜日から土曜日までの連日の塾での縛り付けも、僕を立派な男に育てようという母さんの努力だったんだね。
これもイギリスの格言よ。子供を幸福で包むことが最高の教育。
ありがとう。だから僕からも母さんに、イギリス
何？
What it is? Do I know it?
すべての木に斧を一撃ずつ加えても、一本の木も切り倒せはしない。
What?
それはどういう意味？
こっちの方がいいかな。学問に時間を費やしすぎることは怠惰にしすぎない。フランシス・ベーコン。
The man, drenched in mud and fresh blood, straightened his crooked glasses and slowly stood up. Though he was covered in filth, his appearance had a divine quality to it, something that could only appear on a self-controlled man, not one who had merely been dozing in his mother's amniotic fluid.
僕がサヨから学んだことは数えきれない。
That's the fluid that's in the wound.
僕は彼女の前で初めて勇気と男気と向上心とウィットとユーモアと、それからひょっぴりのおしゃれを学んだんだ。
Just a little stylish.
今日母さんが僕を立派になったと認める要素のほぼ全て母さんの教育のためのうちにやった。
ジョージ、あんたはまだそんなことを。
戻してあげるわ、母さんの子宮に。そしてもう一度暖かな海で育て直してあげる。
As Ava howled, another bright red spiderweb appeared on George's feet and tried to scoop him up into the air again. However, that instant, a powerful magic circle could be seen in the area surrounding George for just a moment. Faster than he could be scooped up by the spiderweb, George jumped, and with a sharp kick of the heel and a magnificent forward flip, he cut the shackles of that spiderweb apart. That smooth movement proved that he had possessed the power to escape from those shackles all along. He had willingly allowed himself to be bound by that web.
母さんのこれまでの恩を一つずつ痛みで相殺させてもらっておかげで僕も親離れがきっちりとできそうだ。必要だね。たまには親子喧嘩。
ジョージ、
Occasional.
私にどうしてそこまで逆らってあんな小娘と。
必要なのはやはり母さんの子離れだ。じゃあそろそろいいか。
何がよ。
そろそろいいか。反撃しても。
What? Fight? The curtain of spiderwebs that Ava shot out in defense were all too slow. George waved through them in that instant, and the next, he was right before her eyes. Oh, the kick! Ava jumped out of the way of the kick that would have knocked her to her feet out from under her, then blocked the second half of George's double roundhouse with a high kick of her own. Oh yeah, she could fight back.
一つだけ感謝しているものがある。
それは何曜日のかしら。
Was it?
長期休暇の国に集中的に習わせる武道教室の数々だよ。
Yeah, oh shit! Oh, I love this shit. What are they doing? What are they doing? What else do they know?
嬉しいわ、ジョージ。たった一つでも感謝してもらえるなんて。母さんは嬉しいわ。
Oh my god, I love her laugh. Damn, was that blue? It was swift feet. Flashed like lightning. Low, 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 mid-level. Body! As George's head fell forward, she caught it in both hands as though she was about to smash it against the ground. It was then met with Ava's knee as it rose like a bolt of lightning from the earth. Yo! I've seen this shit happen before. No motherfucking way, yo! No fucking way they actually, dude, I actually do Muay Thai. We'll try to. I fucking do that fucking knee!
そうだね。母さんと一緒に
Alright, George. If that's the case, throw the fucking elbows. This is fun. Damn, they're fighting all over the place, all over the garden. I keep shaking my head. Damn, bitch. He punched 3 holes in her? George buried his knee sharply into Ava's abdomen. Yo, that shit knocked the wind out of her. An instant before she felt the pain of that fierce attack, Ava watched her son's kick with a proud smile, and then she vomited. Oh. Right. This isn't something like a 50-year-old should wear. Her chin still covered in vomit. Ava looked at George in twisted anguish. She could see how pathetic her face was by her reflection in his glasses. It was her. She did something. I'm calling it. They always do this. She's the one who hit him. The violent lightning and rain made time freeze. George's beautiful kick had stopped an inch from Ava's chest. Look at that shit, man. His hips are fully turned over. He got his hand. Fucking, he's throwing that shit back. The other hand. What I learned, the other hand, this one is supposed to be a little bit higher up here to the face, but damn, that shit looks good. However, the power of the red magic circle. So what? The red magic circle surrounding George had already pierced Ava's body. Oh, okay. Though he had stopped without hitting her, blood poured out of Ava's back. No wound had been left on her chest, but the heart inside it had been struck through. Ava slumped backwards and landed in a puddle with a splash. There was no convulsions. Her life had been ended without leaving her even an instant to writhe about in pain. Wow. How does he know? How does he know about her? As he straightened his glasses, George spoke to the rose thicket behind him. Then a pitch black hole opened in the air and Gab jumped out. Oh, this fucking song. Oh, this fucking song. With his back still facing her, George rested his glasses. The threat in his voice held the solemn presence of a king who ruled over demons. His Majesty made Gap go, and she licked her lips before bowing respectfully to his back. Monarchs. Damn, really? Shit, he already has a woman. Wow. What place would that be? Yes, the VIP room. We haven't been there since episode 2.
あの日了解したわジョージ。
Gap approached Ava's corpse and lightly tapped the ground with her right heel. When she did, a large hole opened up, swallowed both Gap and the corpse, and closed. After a while, a small hole opened in the air, and the staff Ava always carried, which was marked with a one-winged eagle that symbolized the head of the Ushiromiya family, was spat out into a puddle, because the corpse would no longer have any use for it. Is he gonna pick it up? George slowly approached the staff and stepped down hard on the tip. When he did, the staff spun violently in the air, and after passing by the blue moon, which honored the Demon King, it flew into George's outstretched hand. Is he gonna become magic? Are we gonna see him like with a different attire and everything? Just like how we saw fucking Maria? The instant he grasped it, another fierce bolt of lightning struck nearby, and by the time the flash faded, the staff he was holding had become a spray of gold butterflies and disappeared. It was as though George had held the staff up to the heavens and crushed it out of existence. Wow. That was beautiful. Why is he here? With the road, this shit. He's not supposed to be here.
次の人に番を譲るよ。
自分の母さんを手にかけるなんて。
自分を世界で一番最初に愛してくれる人であり。
Wait a minute. This is the trials.
決別すべき人だ。
They know this shit. Okay, they're here because of the trial. Okay.
それが家を出るということだよ。これが僕が作用をめとるために見せられる勇気だ。
Wow. Well, that's what you gotta do. You just have to.
ジョージ様。
You have to grow that courage sometime.
あっぱれなり後ろ宮ジョージ。まずは見事であるぞ。
たとえゲーム上のこととはいえ、駒のこととはいえ、自分の母親を殺すのは愉快なことだね。しかし、それが君たちの課す試練だというから。
Wow, man. My boy George. He stared at the two demons. Applaud him. I mean, by default, doesn't he win the brooch? The demons looked at each other, then showed their surprise at their now familiar exaggerated gesture. Or are they gonna wait until all of them finish? But what if they all win? They all prove themselves worthy. The fuck happens then? They spin a bottle? Zippa. Furu. It really fucking is. Shit. Don't underestimate my boy George. George chose not to go along with his almost theatrical conversation. He just quietly looked down upon the game board, found the piece representing his mother, which was right next to his, and tipped it over. Lick that shit. Damn, bitch. That shit broke like that? It cracked? This was a trial that Zepar and Verver had set them. For the love of each other, take the life of another. It was similar to the game within Beato's fourth game, where they were each given the 3 options as part of a test to select the next family head. Oh, yes, I remember that. Yes. However, a pair of lovers would never abandon each other's lives, so they were automatically left with just the option of sacrificing the life of another instead. In fact, it was merciful that the demons hadn't offered them to take the lives of everyone other than themselves. And besides, it only meant taking those lives as pieces on the board. Yeah, if you don't have it's only pieces. They will come back eventually, right? For the versions of themselves to whom the game board was the only world, this was a tragic parasite. But for these ones who sat around the game board in the witch's tea room, it was nothing more than a movement of the pieces, representing George's will to overcome his parents. Right, exactly, that's it. I mean, there's not gonna be truly affected by it. However, even if it was just a single life with one of an infinite number of fragment worlds, the fact remained that the demons had forced him to take it. George appeared to have distanced himself from the events of the demon's game board, but Jessica still seemed to resist the idea of stealing another person's life, even if it was only their life as a game piece. Damn, I'm interested in what Beatrice is gonna do. Fuck everyone else. As much as I love her, I'm interested in her.
バトラさんの望むベアトリーチェはこんなことでは臆したりしません。
Or maybe she was made. Obviously it's Jessica, but who is she gonna kill? Natsuki?
誰でもいい。次なる挑戦者は名乗り出てほしい。
Oh shit. Cannon can't do it right. Wait, are all four of them supposed to? No, wait. I thought that if George did this, then Shannon wouldn't need to do it. She has to do it as well?
僕の勝ちということだね。
そうなる？ならばおめでとう。後ろ宮ジョージ。
あなたとあなたの愛する人の恋の成就へ至る扉の鍵を。僕たちは今こそ授けん。待てよ。
As the demons delightedly named George as the victor, they were interrupted by the next challenger.
ジェシカさん、次は私だ。やってやろう。私だってカノン君のこと半端に考えてるわけじゃねえってこと。
Really? Okay, prove it to me right now. I want to see it. As usual, this year's family conference was getting bogged down. Everyone had decided to cool their heads for a moment, and a short break had been agreed upon. The four siblings could say whatever they wanted, but Natsuki and Kirie, for example, were outsiders and found it difficult to speak freely in this sort of atmosphere. A conference where you aren't allowed to say what you want can be tiring even as you just sit there quietly. Even Kirie couldn't help letting out a deep sigh. Are we gonna hear her say it? Yes, we did. I'm sorry if I keep saying this, but holy fuck, this shit looks so good. Everything is so vibrant and colorful. And it's like really dark when it's dark. Like right here, this shit is almost like just pure black. This was the second floor hallway of the mansion. Rudolph had wanted to be alone during the break, so she had felt like doing the same. And had drifted up the stairs to reach this place. Her expression was less tightly controlled than it was when her husband was around. Kirie wore a tired look that she didn't often show. She pressed her forehead against the cool window glass. I need to regain my spirit and support my husband, even if I'm not allowed to speak. That's the duty I've won. Man, I'm glad we see more of Kirie because I really do love her. There's no way she's gonna kill Kirie, right? Kirie has nothing to do with her love. She suddenly sensed another person, turned around, and saw Jessica standing at the other end of the hallway.
あら、ジェシカちゃんじゃない。ゲストハウスに行ったんじゃなかったの？
ちょっと本を取りに自分の部屋へ戻ってたんです。
そう。ゲストハウスに戻るところ？
はい、そうです。
嫌な雨ね。風はだいぶ強いのかしら。
今は比較的弱いみたいです。
As Kirie looked out the window, Jessica watched her back, looking agitated. There's no way she's gonna attack Jessica or Kiria, right? Oh, so they could just kill anyone of... They just had to kill someone, anyone. It didn't matter, it doesn't... Okay. Because I first assumed they had to kill someone that would go against their love. Someone who rejected it, or someone who would be in the way. Like, for example, obviously George and Ava. She would be so against it, as we just fucking saw. I imagine right now, Jessica Kanon, her mom, Natsuki, or Kraus, one of them two would be obviously against that. And so I thought she would need to fight them. I didn't know that they could just fight whoever, even if they had nothing to do with it. Oh, it's a roulette. Okay, it's just that random then.
どうするんだいジェシカ。ルーレットはキリエを選んだけど、それを拒否して再びルーレットを回すのも君の勝手さ。
Wow, listen, let me think about this. I want to say this really quickly. I was thinking, you know what? Yes, why don't you spin the roulette again? But then at the same time, you're gonna spin it until you find someone that you're fine with killing? Could you be fine with saying that to yourself? That's like, at least right now, it's at complete random. You can't blame them. You can't be like, oh, I hated her, so I'll kill. Right? It's at complete random. Alright, anyone can go. Jessica wasn't like George. George had willingly chosen Ava to be sacrificed. Oh, okay. To signify his separation from his old life so that he could step into a new life married to Shannon. However, Jessica hadn't thought of any particular target, so she had left it up to the roulette of fate. That roulette was nothing very grandiose. She had simply walked around at random, imposing a rule on herself, saying that the first person she met would be chosen as the sacrifice. And so, the roulette of fate had brought her to Kiria. Of course, there was nothing forcing her to keep to that rule. However, it was the rule that she had decided upon, and she didn't want to break it now. Now that she was participating in this demon's game, this was the one bit of justice she could cling on to. I changed the words a little bit, but you get the idea. Right now, she could attack that unprotected back. But Jessica still wasn't able to fully resolve herself. Yeah, you're gonna kill someone!
どうしたの？何か私に話でも？
You could have just done it already, Jessica, and got it, out the way. Noticing Jessica's strange silence, Kiria turned around. And now you have to actually fight her. That unprotected back was already gone. You had the option, the opportunity. Jessica realized that her hesitation had cost her her own first chance. She had taken on this demon's game to prove her love for Kanon. However, would it really be alright to sell her soul to demons for the sake of love? Not wanting to let George, who had already gone to terms with the situation, get any more of a lead on her, she had energetically consented to this demon's game, but her heart still wasn't ready.
キリエおばさんにこんな質問まずいかな。
何？ジェシカちゃんが私に質問なんて珍しいわね。答えられるものだといいんだけれど。
実は
Oh, don't do this to Kiria.
私好きな人がいるんです。
あら、そうなの？それは素敵ね。まさか恋の相談なの？
そんなところです。
いいわよ。私でよければ力になるわ。
ありがとうございます。実はそれで
まだ片思いなの？
いえ、そこから両思いになりたてって感じのとこです。ただ結ばれるには試練があって。
What a completely... Why would you ask her that?
何それ？
私たちと もう一組の恋人たちがいて、争わなくちゃならないんです。
I don't know if you should have brought this up?
三角関係？それとも四角関係？複雑そうね。それで？
勝った方の恋人同士しか結ばれない、そういう複雑なことになってるんです。つまり
嫌な話ね。相手を踏み台にしてしかどちらも成就できない恋なのね。
はい、自分たちが結ばれれば相手が破綻します。そして逆もしかりです。
質問の趣旨が大体分かったわ。こういうことでしょ。人は幸せになるためにどこまで他者を踏み台にすることが許されるのかでしょ。
It was once again apparent just how smart Giria was. She immediately figured out the question that Jessica wanted to ask most.
戦わなければ自動的に相手が勝ってジェシカちゃんたちは負けになる。しかし戦って勝てば相手を破綻させることになる。どちらも嫌な話ね。
It is
でも
nasty.
聞くまでもなく答えは決まっているわ。
はい。
Kyrie giggled. If she wasn't willing to commit to her love, then what? Then that would show the measure of their relationship. If that was the case, she should just let the other pair of lovers win. However, if this was a love she couldn't abandon, she shouldn't abandon the victory either. So, she had no option but to fight. In the end, Jessica's hesitation was caused by guilt over forcing the others to split apart as a result of her inevitable decision.
やっぱり私は甘えているでしょうか。
そうね。甘えてるわ。
でも自分たちが結ばれるために誰かを踏み台にするなんて、そんなの辛いです。
じゃあジェシカちゃんは恋のお相手を諦める？
それは
断言するわ。その方が辛いわよ。地獄を這うことになる。生涯ね。
A hardness had entered Giria's gaze. Wow.
私は6歳だったから当時は何もわからなかったけれど、遺品の中にお母さんの手記があったわ。それは日記のようなものか。どちらかというと随想録ね。日記よりももっとアバウトなものよ。亡くなってすぐにそれを見つけて読んだけど、その意味を理解できるようになるには長い時間と私の成長を待たなければならなかったわ。なるほど。キリエの夫婦仲についての悩みが記されていたというのか。あれは完全にお母さんの呪い帳よね。その中身は6歳の私がずっと漠然と感じていた疑問を次々に表解させてくれたわ。
When I was 6, it seemed as though my parents were very close and had no problems. And though I didn't think it odd that Oni-chan lived separately when he was meant to be part of our family, and I did wonder why he only came home every once in a while, I accepted it as the way things were.
アスムのことは知らなかったのか。お兄ちゃんが誰もいない時に話してくれたような気がするけど、小学校前の私にそれが理解できるはずがない。写真すらない相手よ。お母さんはアスムさんの写った写真の全てをお兄ちゃんに送って家の中には一切残さなかったそうだから。
In front of Angie, even in front of Battler, and even in front of Battler, who only rarely came home, Kiria's smile never faltered. If she hadn't written her thoughts in that notebook, Angie would probably never have known them. Rudolph had been practically popular with the opposite sex since his school days, a typical playboy. Audacious, over the top, and yet not lacking a little gentleness towards women. He had probably built up a formula for getting women to like him. Plenty of women approached him, using various seductive tricks to try to win his favor. Damn, shit. Okay, Rudolph probably enjoyed that more than anyone. Since the beginning, love had been a game to Rudolph. He never thought of it as a trial and error process to find a single life partner. He would intentionally spark jealousy between women and revel in the harem, lapping up their flirting. What a motherfucker. He may be my father, but he was an awful man. Oh, what? Is that what Angie's thinking?
媚びへつらう女の子たちをきっと見下してもいたのね。
Toadying.
そんな中に自分の価値観をしっかりと持ち、知性を見せるお母さんは目立って見えた。
それすらもルドルフの目を引きたいキリエの知恵かもしれぬわな。
Right, man. She's smart as fuck.
かもね。お母さんはいろいろな意味で頭が良かったから。
Like the other Ushiromiya siblings, Rudolph had strong ambitions and lofty goals. Under the mottos of who dares wins and it's not a crime if you don't get caught, he would set up businesses that were borderline swindles, or bending the law, then bail out of them and repeat that process over and over. Apparently, he was already making use of that talent in his college years, cleverly making money by thinking up shameless projects and selling cheap tickets to parties for them. So much money that he could brag about how his wallet was always stuffed with 110,000 yen notes. Many women fell for his charisma in being the man responsible for these radical projects, as well as his thick wallet and generosity. It would be a lie to say that Kirie was not one of them. However, what made Kirie very different from the other women was that she could also support Rudolph as a business partner. Rudolph would laugh all the way to the bank at his large-scale party succeeded. His female entourage would surround him. And Kirie would be the only one among them able to calmly point out several ways that the income and expenditure could be improved upon, and even lay out a proposal for the next project.
そうしてルドルフにパートナーとして次第に認められていくわけであるか。
男子厨房に入るべからずっていうように、女もまた財布に入るべからずって空気はあるわよね。女はおごられて当たり前。男の出す1万円札をどうやって捻出しているかは野暮だから聞かない、知らない、興味もない。
キリエは金に対する価値観が男性的であったということだ。
In that regard, Rudolph noticed something unique about Kirie. He knew all about how much hard work it took to make just one of those 10,000 yen notes. So somewhere inside him, he looked down upon those extravagant women who never even considered the efforts he had undertaken. Among all of them, only Kirie possessed the same sharp financial intuition as Rudolph. Every time Rudolph thought of a new plan, he would talk to Kirie about it, work out the kinks, and make it succeed. In this way, Kirie steadily worked her way up until she was the number one of Rudolph's large group of followers.
でも、お母さんだって女。他の女たちにチヤホヤされてるお父さんを見て、心が安らいでたかどうかは疑わしい。
ナンバーワンよりオンリーワンの方が良いというの。
そういうこと。お母さんはお父さんの右腕として活躍しながらも、その陰では狡猾に他の女性を切り離していったわ。お母さんの恋の成就はもはや時間の問題だった。
アスムはいつからいたのか。ルドルフさんの取り巻きの一人。いえ、取り巻いてさえいなかった。
But I heard, you know what? I don't even care about this Asumo bitch, because I heard that she is not Battler's birth mother. They said it in red, so what do I even care about her
ただ
now?
のファンの一人だった。
話したことはあるんですか？
もちろん。
Okay.
私は彼女のことをよく知ってるわ。ルドルフさんがアスムさんの名前さえ知らなかった一番最初からね。あの子も
Really?
きっと頭のいい子だったの。狡猾だったの。私は頭の良さで目立とうとしたけど、彼女は全くその逆で目立とうとしたの。
頭の悪さで？
肥後欲のかきたて方がうまいっていう。こ
Oh.
びてイチャついてくる女たちの中で、彼女の仕草の一つ一つが派手な女たちに触傷を起こしていたルドルフさんには目立って見えた。
Even now, Kyrie recognized the mistakes she had made in letting Asumu and Rudolph get too close. Kyrie had thought that by taking the role of his business partner, she had succeeded in making him entirely hers. She might have been a little conceited, and her arrogance in trying to eliminate the relationships the other girls had with Rudolph might also have contributed. Perhaps she sometimes tried too hard as a business partner, putting too much pressure on him, regardless of the fact that it was justified. Bit by bit, Rudolph started to need a woman who could stay quiet and soothe him, without making him think about anything complicated. That woman was Asumu.
私は冷酷で知的、合理的で経済的、カルネアデスの船板のような状況にあったら躊躇なく相手を蹴落とす。そんなパートナーがあの人にはふさわしいと思う。
Even though that ruthlessness had made her reliable on the business side of things, outside of business, it might have disturbed Rudolph deeply. At some point, Rudolph still acknowledged Kirye's skill, he began to yearn for a quiet, warm acceptance. Asumu filled that role completely. She would never talk about anything complicated. Even if she did, she would just shake her head to say she didn't know. No, even if he did. Whatever. However, she would care more for him physically than anyone else, quietly putting a blanket on him and staying by his side until morning.
確かに私はビジネスのパートナーの座を手に入れた。しかしいつしかルドルフさんには心を癒してくれるメンタルのパートナーが必要になった。私は愚かしくも知的を自称しながらそれに気づけずにいた。
それでルドルフおじさんはアスムおばさんと結婚を？
ええ、そうよ。取られた。たくさんの女をはべらしていたのよ。今さらどこの女と遊んだって情を移すような人じゃない。それにあの人にとって女なんて遊びでしかなかったのよ。だからこそ私は体以外を武器に自分の存在を示していた。慢心だね、女として。
間もなく2人は解任するわ。アスムさんはそれをすぐにお父さんに打ち明けたけど、お母さんは逆だった。
身重になることがビジネスパートナーの座を揺るがすことになりかねないと恐れていた。
Wow! So he slept with both of them!
当時のお母さんは食が細くて体調不良とか当たり前だったのか。だから解任に気づくのも随分遅れた。
気づいたのよ。
アスムさんとお父さんが電撃入籍をしてからよ。お母さんはその後に妊娠を知ってアスムさんやお父さんを揺さぶろうと随分暗躍したみたいだけど。
アスムさん、 あんなにぼんやりしてそうな。ルドルフさんが加え込んだら話やしない。だから何ですか、どうぞお引き取りくださいって言ってバス一つ乗るにも怖い怖いと縮こまってたあの小娘ね。あの時悟ったわ。本当に狡猾だったのは彼女だった。
Wow, man, shaking my fucking head right now.
乗り物恐怖症だってルドルフさんの気を引くための嘘だった。
What a... So she really played the ditzy card so well, huh? Even cars would scare the bitch? Or she would pretend that they would?
ごめんなさい。
Wow, man. Wow.
こんな話を聞いてもつまらないわよね。
Hell no, I am so I am so caught up. I'm so locked into this shit. Oh, I need to know everything else. Fuck no. Keep talking. Keep talking. Don't let the story better not fucking stop right now.
せめて私の産む子だけでも
Good.
認知させたかったわ。ルドルフさんもそのつもりはあったの。
Okay.
病院も
It
きっちり
seems.
手配してくれたし、アスムさんの出産が近づいても海外しく私のところにも来てくれてたわ
Well, he fucking bet it's his motherfucking kid.
け。もはや向こうが本当の奥さんなのね。
It's still his child. Even though at that point he was married to the other woman. It's still his fucking kid.
ひどい人だわ。ほん
And yet you married the son of a bitch. After that is the tale I can't bear even to tell. Both Asumu and I had the same delivery date. Oh, what? Hold on, I gotta stand straight up. And yet her pregnancy led to marriage, while mine was completely meaningless. I swore to bring up my child well, so that Rudolph-san would be proud to call him its father. Asumu-san had won her battle against me. However, I had not yet lost the war. If I could make a child excel far more than Asumu-san's, if I could make my child the one that Rudolph-san most respected, I would be rewarded. That's what I believed.
しかしキリエの子は死産だった。
Number one, she didn't get any of that. But number two, still, what that would do to her mentally, to have a child born like that? Dead at birth? How did she manage to pull through this emotionally? Because at every angle, she's fucked.
アスムさんにはお兄ちゃんが生まれた。
I thought she didn't.
しかしお母さんからは誰も。お母さんのせめて第二夫人の座に残りたいという最後の希望は絶たれた。
Kyrie had fallen from her partner to a second wife. And then, unable to give birth to the bond of a child, she tumbled down to being merely his mistress. I can't imagine how much she must have hated Asumu and her child, Battler. But I thought Asumu never had Battler, because didn't they say in the Red Motherfucking Truth? Episode 4? Beatrice said that to Battler, to destroy him. That Battler's mom wasn't Asumu. Or am I wrong?
そんなのもお首にも出さず、お母さんはお兄ちゃんとも親しげに接してたわ。ショックだった。あの優しいお母さんがお兄ちゃんにそんな負の感情を持っていて、それを隠しおおせてたなんて。憎かったであろうな、バトラーは。でしょうね。もし死産がアスムさんで、お母さんの方がお兄ちゃんを出産していたなら、何か歴史は変わっていたかもしれない。もしもそうだったなら、 アスムさんと離婚させて自分と再婚するようなシナリオを描きたいと思ってたみたい。
それも随想録にか。
ええ。だからこそそれは随想、妄想、涙で濡らしたシーツの端を噛みながらのお母さんの演さ。
You know what? It sucks to hear that, but that's just the truth. That's just the truth, and I don't blame her for that. I just hope that she doesn't hate Battler currently. Maybe she still feels some resentment towards it. That reminder. However, I hope she understands that it's not Battler's fault. You know what? You can't blame. Sometimes, when it comes to emotions, it gets ugly. It gets real ugly.
解任ですか。
違う違う。私のおごりだけよ。ルドルフさんはもう私のものだから絶対安全。あんなアスムなんていう小娘に負けるわけがない。彼女がバスや飛行機でギャーギャーわめくとき、私はその手配と経費を適正に処理できた。だから私は一番ルドルフさんに信頼されているとおごり高ぶっていた。恋って育むって言うでしょ。
はい。
間違ってないわ。二人で水をやり世話をして育む、そして最後に結実するのが愛という実なの。知ってる？結実して終わりじゃないのよ。愛を収穫しなきゃ恋は成就したことにならないの。
収穫って？
それはジェシカちゃんが考えなさい。実らせても収穫しなきゃ傷んで腐ることもある。虫がたかることだってもちろんあるわ。いいえ、それどころか盗っ人が現れてもぎ取っていってしまうことさえもね。ジェシカちゃんたち若い子の恋愛観は育むところで終わってる。それは甘いわ。愛を収穫しなきゃ恋は報われない。
愛を収
それは一見愛し合う二人きりだけの問題に見えてそんなことはないのよ。だからいつ収穫しても自由なんていう先延ばしは盗っ人に機会を与えるだけ。苦労して育てた子が翌朝にもぎ取られて亡くなっていたわ。昨日のうちに面倒くさがらずに収穫しておけばよかったら後悔する。辛いよ、その後悔。地獄を這う。
That's funny, because I was about to say, I heard that is hell. Regret?
私はこう、その地獄が18年で終わった。だから私は自分を間違えない。あの人は私のもの。もう逃がさない、手放さない。そして主に感謝する。その機会を与えて絶対にあの人を諦めないという絶対の意志に奇跡が応えてくれる。
By now, Jessica was speechless and didn't even nod her head in understanding. This true form of love that Kiria was telling her about was far, far more harsh than anything she had imagined.
今の私は
Yes, because they didn't get to harvest that love, right? Jessica and Ganon, they've only just
ルド
nurtured
ルフさんを私のところにつなぎ止めるためには
or seen it sprout.
そしてルドルフさんの敵には一切容赦しない。あの人が望むならば私は人殺しさえも躊躇しない。
Oh fuck.
18年目にしてようやくその決意を持ったからこそ絶対の意志が奇跡を私にもたらしてくれた。奇跡をね。 それを自ら成し遂げられる者のところにしか現れない。
Asumu's death was no murder. However, Kiriya had often cursed her and hoped for her death. And finally, on the 18th year, she built up the determination to kill her with her own hands. And then, she actually got herself a knife with which to do the deed. That was when the miracle occurred. No way, she was actually gonna do it?
亡くなったことが奇跡。
違うわ。そんなの全然奇跡じゃない。
It was bound to happen.
だって彼女が死ななければ私が殺していたもん。
Right, so she was bound to be dead regardless. No matter what the method was.
彼女は必ず死ぬ運命だった。
Okay.
奇跡なのは彼女が死んだにもかかわらず私が自らの手を汚さずに済んだ。
Right, you're not in jail right now, so that I guess you could say it is a
こ
miracle.
の一点に尽きるのよ。
Until now, Kiriya had never known Jessica. No, she had never even shown Rudolph. Shown. Let me reread this. Until now, Kiriya had never shown Jessica. No, she had never even shown Rudolph that glint in the deepest depths of her eyes. It told plainly and clearly that romance and love are not the sweet and fluffy candies that young girls imagine them to be. Jessica was overwhelmed by that pressure and stunned silence. And she had to acknowledge it. This was the power of will that could make love be realized. This was the level of willpower Kiriya showed in her support of Rudolph as his wife. And it was the same for George. He already had the willpower to confront everything in the same way his love... Wait, what? He already had the willpower to confront everything in the way of his love that transcended status. And he had proven that. Now, Jessica could clearly understand. This was the magnitude of George's determination, which had allowed him to coldly carry out his part of the demon's trial. Then, what about her? Did she really have the resolve to make her love with Ganon bear fruit, and to go through with the task of harvesting it? I have a feeling, I don't know, I feel like it's 50-50.
ごめんなさい。
You know what? No, I feel like it's probably 60% no, 40% yes.
軽いアドバイスのつもりが怖がらせすぎちゃったかしら。この天気のせいね。
Because they never, in a way, they never really got to nurture that love. It was, she said she's gonna prove that it's not a crush, but that's pretty much what it seemed like. They never got to interact fully, like in a loving way, interact with each other.
軽く凄むだけのつもりだったのに、加減を間違えちゃったわ。
Kiriya let a relaxed smile rise to her face. The tense atmosphere finally slackened. However, her words had been gouged into Jessica's heart.
ジェシカちゃんの恋がどんなものかはわからないけれど、ライバルがいて、お互いが譲れない状況ならばなおのこと、のんびりなんかしてられない。じゃないと、私みたいになっちゃうわよ。女は恋のために、人生で一度、殺意を持つべきよ。
I don't think just women.
世界中で母を名乗るすべての女がそうだったと断言できるわ。だって。
Really?
そうじゃない女は他の女に食い殺されて生涯を嫉妬と後悔の地獄で這い続けるのだから。私はその地獄に18年いた。私は幸運よ。たった18年で恩赦になれた。あの地獄には今も大勢の女たちがいて死ぬまで出られない。
That's terrible.
後悔する自分を自らの手で処刑しない限りね。
Wow. What a trial. What if the trial here is her just... She doesn't have to kill Kiria, but... resolve herself to do it?
なんていうか言葉もないです。
Just to show that you have the resolve to fully go through all of this? Because George, he didn't... Well, he did, but...
エールを送るつもりだったのに、私ったら脅しすぎたわ。
She's in over her head.
本当にごめんなさい。
She didn't expect it to be like this. It gets scary sometimes, bitch.
恋愛なんて本当に火遊び。
I said sometimes.
誰でも簡単に気軽に遊べちゃう。そして間違えて大やけどした時、その傷が生涯残るんだけどね。
Oh shit. Regrets in love will never fade. That was all that Kiria had been trying to communicate. It wasn't like Kiria to tell her life story instead of just saying something like that directly. In fact, her past was a topic she usually avoided. However, Kiria might have felt as though Jessica deserved to hear. Jessica had timidly brought up the subject of love. Perhaps Kiria had opened up and told everything, because she had seen the fires of Jessica's determination in her eyes. Yes.
じゃあ、私はそろそろ戻るわね。
She relates to it.
今の話、私たちだけの内緒よ。
With a mysterious smile on her face, Kiria turned around. Oh,
脅しすぎちゃったかしら。でも、脅されて知る地獄の方が100倍いい。そこに落ちた時は、もう手遅れなのだから。頑張ってね、ジェシカちゃん。ややこしそうな恋だけど、負けないでね。たまには人生の先輩らしく振る舞えたかしら。ん？何？ジェシカちゃん。
What? The fuck was that? A windstorm grazed Kiria's head. It had missed by a hair. What the fuck is up with her eyes? You know what? I always thought she looked like a cat. If Kiria hadn't twisted her body slightly, the fist would probably have been buried in her face by now. A bitter smile rose to Jessica's face when she saw that her first strike had failed to land a kill.
言っとくけど、卑怯者だから不意打ちをしたわけじゃねえんだぜ。わけのわからないうちに一撃で、痛みさえ理解できないうちに終わらせようとしたのに。
You know what? I was gonna say this earlier, but I thought it was very funny because Kiria, in her own way, just killed herself by saying this. She gave Jessica.
嫉妬の地獄で生きてきたって。刺されそうになったことの2度や3度あるんだから。わかるのよ。不意打ちの直前の雰囲気が。
気配で分かったとでも？
それプラス、一番最初の嘘かしら。
嘘？
だって、ゲストハウスから来て、ジェシカちゃんの部屋で本を取って帰ろうとしたら、ここでこの向きでは出会わないもの。あなたがその嘘をつく必要性について、チェス盤理論で想定した7つのケースの中で。
There it is, man. The chessboard thinking shit. I love it. Also, she doesn't have a book on her.
最悪の
I think that would be enough. Telling a hasty lie to Kiria would only put her on guard. If Jessica hadn't told that lie, her surprise attack would have succeeded.
やるね。さすがキリエおばさんだぜ。
どうして？あなたは最初から私を殺すつもりだったの？
誰でもよかった。
最悪だ。
Oh, I hate this. I don't want to see. Why does she always have to die? I don't want to see Kiria. I don't want to see. Oh, fuck. Does she have her brass knuckles? Is she a boxer? She's trained in martial arts, isn't she? She must be. Kiria dodged the punch, placed her hand against that fist, and slammed it against the wall. Okay, so she like parried it. Ordinarily, being made to punch the wall should have caused Jessica to hurt her own hand and roll around clutching in pain. Right. Right! I've done that before on accident. Well, not accident, but... However, Jessica's fist had left what looked like a meteor-wide crater in the wall. Instead of looking of anguish after smashing her fist against the wall, Jessica clicked her tongue in irritation at having missed.
すごいわね。さすがクラウス兄さんの子だわ。ボクシングでも始めたの？
Nice! So it is boxing! Also, yes, Kraus knows boxing? That's kind of cool. Impossible. Jessica is barehanded. She isn't holding any sort of weapon at all.
抵抗しないでボス。頭に立つ。痛みなんか感じさせない。
Shit, you say that now, bitch. Kiria tried to look confident, but she couldn't hide her confusion at this unreal destructive force. If that punch had hit, her head probably would have split open like Jessica had said, killing her without any pain.
行くぜ。
Left hook, bitch! Or was that a shovel? Shovel punch, shovel hook? I'm not sure. Bolo, if Kiria's kick off the ground and leap backward had been an instant slower, her gut would probably have been pulverized. Damn, bitch. Though she had avoided it by a hair, Jessica's left body was blown and followed by a terrible tornado like... Wait, what? Jessica's left body blow was followed by a terrible tornado-like gust of wind which blew Kiria back. Damn, bitch, the force?
これは夢。私寝ぼけてる。わけがわからない。
This Jessica looked like the normal Jessica, but something was different. Her fucking eyes! It wasn't human, and common sense didn't apply to it. This had to be some kind of nightmare. Kiria slowly stood up. Then, she looked at Jessica, noticed the several meters between them, and realized just how far that blast of wind had sent her flying.
恨んでくれていいぜ。でも私、キリエおばさんに死んだし、自分のことに合わせられねえんだ。
何を言ってる？何を言ってる？何なのこれの一体。誰か教えて！
The air around Jessica seemed to bend like a heat wave. It seemed to be enshrouding her fist. And it seemed as though something like a red magic circle had appeared beneath her feet. She looked just like a western demon standing amidst the flames of hell. Mass! Each time Jessica muttered, her fists were surrounded by a pulsating, sinister red light. I don't want to fuck with that. Those fists, which were even giving off smoke, surely represented the iron hammers of hell welded by demons.
さよなら。これは悪夢なのよ。
Kiria dashed away with lightning speed. Yes, right now, that was her best option. She was smart enough to realize that pinching her cheek wasn't the best way to wake up from this nightmare, and by now, this came as no surprise. Renault? When Jessica muttered once more, a blood-red magical barrier blocked off the corridor. Kiria slammed into it hard and realized that her path of escape had been cut off.
やめてよ。こんなわけのわかんないの。これは悪夢だわ。悪夢なのよ。覚めて。早く。
Oh, Kiria, why did you have to be the one to die? I really do like her.
悪夢だ。それが望みならすぐに覚めさせる。一撃さ。動かない。
Jessica slowly stepped forward towards her, enshrouded in flames. Each time her feet lifted off the floor, boiling steam hung around her footprints. Alright, let me look at this just for a second. Damn, for real, I like the man, I love how they draw this shit. I'm sorry. This was a true nightmare. Kiria clutched her head in her hands, shaking it over and over again.
悪夢なのね。これは悪夢なのね。お願い。
夢だぜ。
悪夢なのね。悪夢なのね。
私が認めてやるぜ。
That's breaking my heart. I don't want to hear this.
認めるわ。これは悪夢だと認める。だから
そうしてやるぜ。一撃でな。
Uppercut? What? Wait a minute. Was that Leviathan? What? Wait, what? Jessica's neck twisted at an odd angle, and she staggered backwards. Her eyes rolled back into her head, as though she didn't have a clue what had just happened. What the fuck? A demon stake was buried at an angle into her forehead. Why? It pulled itself out of her, spun around, and then became Leviathan and landed. The hole left behind in Jessica's head spewed blood.
人のレビアここに
Envious.
悪夢の中だっていうなら、私の悪夢に出てくる友人がいてもいいわよね。嫉妬の地獄の友人よ。危機一髪だったわ。ありがとう。
Envy.
早いわこいつ耐えてる
Wow, man. To think she would have her? Even though she had taken a deep gouge to the top of the head, Jessica just stood there, convulsing and wide-eyed, and didn't fall over. The blood stopped pouring out of her forehead, and her blank doll-like eyes returned. Then, she slowly pressed her own palms against the wound in her forehead. There was a sizzle, as though she had pressed a hot iron against it. It was easy to imagine that she was doing this to seal up the wound. If Kiria didn't escape now, there would never be another chance.
あいつを倒せる。
無理ねあいつ大悪魔の誰かと契約してるわ不死身よ
それは愛ゆえに。だから不死身なのさ。
はあ愛よ偉大なる我らの祝福する者に不死身あれ
この赤い魔法の壁は破れる。
ロドウェ様も大悪魔私じゃ無理よ
窓から逃げられる。
窓もとっくにロノエ様の結界で塞がれてるわ
Ah,
すごいわね。恋のために悪魔の魂を売ったわけかしら。
よくもあんな大悪魔たちとこんなにも契約が妬ましい
still, Leviathan with Kirie? The fact that she's with anyone is any one of the adults?
そうだ全部する攻撃反応する
Counterattack! In response to these words, this time her entire body pulsated with a red light. She had upgraded herself with a defensive power that would ensure Leviathan's attack would never work again.
あいつ何を言ってる。
自己増強エンチャントっていうの今のあいつは私に二度と貫かせない防御力を持ちその上攻撃者にダメージ反射する力まで持ってる
Oh fuck.
人間じゃない化け物よ
なんだ。さっきと大して変わってない。
そうとも言う
最初の時点から勝ち目がない。何の変化もない。
Jessica slowly lifted the hand that had been covering her forehead, and there was no longer any hole there. The hall was blocked by barriers in both directions, and even the windows were sealed. There was no way out.
そこの部屋の扉封印されてる。
She's looking right out the door too.
ただの施錠だわでもただの部屋よ窓はあるけれどすでに封印されてるわつまり密室私たちの棺桶ってわけ
棺桶上等だわ。妬ましいわ。あんたにしか開けられないなって。
Okay. Leviathan's stake flew about at high speeds, ramming itself into the keyhole to that room. The tip of the stake had become a key. Wow. As soon as it was unlocked, the door flew open. Okay. Both of them fell into the room and quickly locked it. This was probably Krause's study. Its soothing furnishings brought about a sense of nobility that Krause would probably like.
正常なんかしてもあいつは扉を一撃で打ち砕けるわ。キリエは自分で自分の棺桶の蓋を閉じただけよ。
でもね、棺桶の中で私たちにとどめを食らわせたかったら蓋を開けなければならない。
With dim eyes, Jessica tilted her head upon hearing Kirie's words.
でもその小さな部屋がどうしておばさんを守ってくれると。
確かにこの部屋は密室だが、私たちの体力だね。でもあなただってこの部屋には侵入できるの。それが密室というもの。
そんなちっぽけな部屋にこんなちっぽけな扉一枚でどうして私から逃れたつもり。
With a confused expression on her face, Jessica looked wearily between her own burning fists and the door. Then slowly, she sent that pulsating red light to her fists. Oh shit, she gonna break it down? She repeatedly enchanted her fists to give them the destructive power for the killing blow.
粉々にしてやれ。
できるなってやってごらんなさい。
Responding calmly through the door, which was the only thing separating her from Jessica, Kiria placed a single index finger on it, as if to hold it shut. What? Jessica slowly raised her fire-wreathed demonic fist.
さよなら、キリエおばさん。
Is there like some anti-magic shit going on? What's going on? Jessica's fist slammed into the door in slow motion. It was the same kind of slow motion often seen as a special effect at the climax of a movie. What the fuck? However, this was no special effect. Jessica's fist really was slowing down, as though it was being sucked in, like a spoon sinking into a jar of honey. That punch was no longer a punch. It was no more than a knock.
嫉妬するな、あなた。私は恋に対する甘えと傲慢から18年嫉妬の地獄をかけた。だからあなたは珍しいんだ。あなたは私の忠告を受けて恋を成就させて美しい人生を歩むでしょう。ああ、目覚ましいわ。女の一番美しい。あなたは私よりも18年も長く。目覚ましい。
Damn, bitch, and it's that fucking envy that's gonna make her. She has like a fucking barrier. Jessica tried to slam her fists against the door over and over again. However, as soon as her fists approached it, its speed plummeted. She could barely knock, much less smash the door. Speed of sound.
無駄よ、お嬢ちゃん。砕けろ。
With full speed upgrades, Jessica's fists moved at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers an hour. However, how long had Jessica been in envy to gain that speed? She had started to envy George and Shannon's relationship about 2 years ago. 2 times 365 equals 730 days. 730 days times 24 equals 17,520 hours. However, she wasn't envious all the time. It only happened when Shannon started going on about George. With Shannon's shift on about 3 days of a week, divided by 7 times 3, what are we going on about? And it wasn't as though she would go on about George all day long. Her fond words for him would only leave a mark on Jessica for about an hour. Really? So only 1/24th of each day. 1,700. No, 17,520 divided by 7 times 3 divided by 24 equals 312, rounded down. The number of hours that Kiryu had been jealous was 157,680. In other words, this was a scant 0.2% of the time that Kiryu had been jealous. Even 1,225 kilometers an hour, the speed of sound becomes only 2.45 kilometers an hour in the 1,500th world. Fuck.
あなた恋も嫉妬も足りないわ。
Even Jessica's sonic fists were no faster than a walking child in Kiryu's world. Jessica ground her teeth, her fist still pressed against the door. If someone could have seen this from both sides of the door, it would have looked as though Kiryu was holding it shut with a single finger. Wow, man, she's done this shit again.
ジェシカちゃんはせいぜいノックをすることはできるけど、中の私たちに
Wait, I just remembered. She pulled the same shit against fucking Leviathan. The same girl that's protecting her, she pulled this same shit on her to defeat her.
出会った道の密室です。こうなるとこの密室して厄介です。密室殺人を行うのは人間には不可能。それが行えるのは魔法だけです。ジェシカ様が真に魔法を理解されない限り打ち破ります。
もはやジェシカちゃんに私を詰めることはできない。やがて時間は進み、私がいつまでも戻らないことに気づいた親族たちが屋敷を探し始める。そしてあなたが魔女も魔法も観測されたら消える。悪夢の時間はもう終わりよ、お嬢ちゃん。
おやジェシカがいきなり脱落なんてびっくりだよ。
どうか頑張って愛しのカノンのためにも。
What about the wall next to the door?
ジェシカ、愛を信じてどうか奇跡を見せておくれ。
訂正するわ。時間の経過を待つ必要さえ。だってここに内線電話があるんだもん。もちろん断線なんかしない。
Wow.
この通り。これが私のチェックメイト。
Damn, could you do something to that phone line?
密室殺人。
おや、有効ですな。
浸透付与。打撃伝達。間接攻撃力付与。
What is she doing? What is she doing? Jessica's fists, which was pressed against the door, glowing red and then white hot. Damn, bitch. Somebody searing me. What? No, the whole fucking room is on fire? Jessica didn't even swing her fist. She just kept it pressed against the door. However, Jessica's murder reached inside the locked room. Though through the cracks in the study door, through the keyhole, burst the flames of hell. Jessica couldn't see what was happening inside the room. However, even here, on the other side of the door, she could tell that the flames of hell had swallowed the entire room. Is she gonna burn alive? No. Kiryu's smoldering death throes could be heard from across the door. Jessica clearly heard as Kiryu danced a dance of death amidst the hellfire, fell to her knees, and slumped over to the floor. Slowly, Jessica tore her burning fist away from the door.
そんなに嫉妬の地獄が激しいの。焼かれた嫉妬の炎永遠に。嫉妬から学ぶものもあるだろうぞ。だがそれは誇るもんじゃないし義務でもない。やっぱり
お見事な密室殺人ですな。
後片付けを頼むぜ。やがて見つかる遺体が黒焦げじゃあまりに申し訳がない。きれいにしてやってくれるか。
かしこまりました、お嬢様。
Renova transformed into a gold butterfly and entered Krause's study through the keyhole. Then he had to cross his arms and think about how he should even start cleaning up Kiria's unrecognizable corpse and this room that had ended up as a burning hell. She's back to normal. Jessica finally let out the breath that she had been holding down in her chest. Her normal human glint finally returned to her eyes, and then she couldn't help but shudder at what she had done, even if it had just been a trial on the game board for the sake of her love.
悪魔ども、これでいいんだろう。
お見事です、ジェシカ。あなたの愛も本物だ。
George welcomed Jessica with crisp applause. Beato timidly tried to join him, but Jessica yelled at them and she stopped.
ゲーム版の上の話じゃないか。そこまで悲しむことじゃない。
理屈じゃ分かってる。でもだからって心の整理がつくわけがねえだろ。お嬢様、カノン君、私君のことが好き。諦められないよ。だから示したよ、私の気持ち。私間違ってないよね。
No, don't you dare doubt yourself now. No, I will not accept this. As Jessica started to sob, Kenan held her quietly, and he realized that he would have to carry on the determination she had shown him. Exactly.
そして人の心を残し苦しむことも間違ってない。僕はそういうことに対し少し君よりストイックだっただけの話さ。
誰もがジョージ様の境地に至れるわけではありません。しかしどうあれお嬢様はとにもかくにも試練を成し遂げられた。お見事です。その決意の強さ敬服します。
そういうことであるな。ジョージもジェシカも見事やり遂げたことは同じだ。あっぱれであったぞジェシカ。今の密室殺人、魔女のわらわも見惚れるなかなかのものであった。
Jessica had used magic to kill Kiria, and who had holed up inside a closed room. In that instant, Jessica had constructed a locked room murder, had it acknowledged by the demons, and raised it to the level of magic.
これで2人の試練が完了だわ。
さあ、次は誰が挑戦を？
ベアトリーチェ様かしら？
いやいや、シャノンかもしれないよ。
ここはカノンの出番に違いないわ。
さあ、名乗り出てほしい。次は誰が試練を？
魔女がゲーム版の殺人に臆してどうするというのか。臆ても過ぎれば恋を殺すぞ。
さあ次は
誰が恋の殺人を？
I think Beatrice is gonna be the last one. The three who remained looked at each other. If the other two are going to spend a few more moments hesitating to raise their hands, I will raise my own instead. All three thought this at the same time. So, they all raised their hands at the same time. What? The ones they loved had already shown their determination. They had to carry on. Yeah, you can't bullshit at this point. Enough fucking around. You gotta get to it. This was fucking crazy. So Erica was in love, but she suspected her boyfriend of cheating on her. Using the blue truth, she suspected him and won the argument. Without love, it cannot be seen. Now then, what can't be seen? Magic. Now then, the magic of her love, right? Love, or the understanding of, because maybe her boyfriend didn't cheat on her. She just suspected her with some clues, some circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial. It's not rock solid. And maybe magic in a way represents doubts. The doubts she held by. Maybe magic represents the doubts that she held when she suspected him, right? Those 8 whatever the fuck things, blue truths that Delanor showed. In her mind, there's only 8 of them, and there's what I think it was like 70 or 60 something instances that showed that he was cheating, and I guess she could interpret those 8 blue truths as magic because hey, I mean they would be right. You have all these different instances of him not being truthful or being contradictory, and then you just have these little 8 ones, right? These just scattered. These are just, you can count them on 2 hands of him proving himself. That is magic that can just be ignored. We can argue that away, or maybe her doubts in her mind. That is magic. It can't be explained. The doubts that she has of all that shit happening, and so she must explain that. She must vehemently explain that, because if she doesn't, then she was wrong. Then it would be all her fault. It would be all in her head. I like these two, man. I'm loving this. The difficulty is fairly easy. What could possibly fool you now? For 5, there's no longer any difficulty. At this point, these are not hints, but a confession. If you guys have a link to like some highlights for episode 1, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna have to like skim through videos of episode 1. Or there's actually this one video that like says episode 1 in 18 minutes, but I don't think that's gonna go into the particulars of me finding any clues. Thank you.